What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes checking in here on a Sunday. We're going to talk to Vanessa Demopoulos, a little monster who's got a big fight coming up, and it's in a couple weeks. So she was telling us before the show she's in that hangry mode. I feel sorry for Jaqueline Amorim. That is her opponent. They fight at the Apex on September 7th. Welcome back, Vanessa. Hangry, huh? What are you missing the most?
Honestly, I really just love like a big, giant, juicy ribeye. I've been like dreaming of them. And even though I can have steak during my weight cuts, there's nothing like just like that big, giant tomahawk just sitting on your plate.
Mm-hmm. So if
Yeah.
you can have it, you just choose not to have it. Is that just part of the mental discipline, like kind of like a self-torture of sorts?
Well, okay. So even when I'm like in between camps and stuff, it's never about like the food that I eat. I'm always eating healthy. I don't have portion control, like your girl likes to
Ah,
freaking eat, right? So I'll have like the big giant ones and just like eat until I don't even like want to look at myself anymore.
gotcha, gotcha. And what are your sides? You might as well tell us because I'm into steak dinners. I'm always curious
Oh,
what everyone else gets. What are your sides?
I definitely love me some asparagus and probably like a whole lot of potatoes, honestly. Yes. Like give me that steak and potatoes, baby. That's all I want in my life.
Do you have a particular Vegas steakhouse that you like that you can point us towards?
No, I'm sorry. Not a
No?
particular one. No, I'm always
Oh,
looking for the best ones too. So, I mean, it's Vegas. They're all amazing. It's really hard to pick and choose around here.
this is true. All right. Let me ask you a question. Tell me if I'm being harsh, right? Yesterday I'm watching Tabitha Ricci
Mm-hmm.
and Angela Hill. Now
Mm-hmm.
they entertained. They had a great pace. I don't know if you saw it, but I thought they had a great pace and it was an entertaining fight. But about halfway through, I just thought to myself, neither one of these has something for the champ. How about you, Vanessa? Do you feel like you've won four of your last five? Your only loss is to someone who competed for a title in Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Do you have something for the champ right now as you progress towards the top?
I have extreme power. So my skills are just really incredible. I'm an amazing martial artist. Like I'm very complete, right? So I have high level black belt jujitsu. I have high level striking. I'm out striking the strikers. I'm out grappling the grapplers. Like I'm going up against like world class people in each field and beating them every time. So I feel like I'm extremely well rounded, but I'm also extremely powerful too for this division. So I think I have a few more fights before I start thinking about champ status, right? Like, first, I want to get into the rankings. That would be nice. And then I can start climbing my way towards bigger goals like that.
But see that answer right there fires me up because it's full of confidence. We're not overlooking the opponent because the same power you can use on Wei Lee, you can use on Jacqueline. So we're not
Yeah.
overlooking her. We know what the task is at hand. But I think a lot of fighters, so it's sometimes it's like pulling teeth just to get the call out and things like that. But I think a lot of fighters just need to put themselves out there to create fans to back them. And sometimes your fans can push you over the line when the UFC is deciding, well, who's next? You know what I'm saying? And I love that answer. I love the confidence there because Zhang Wei Li has been put down. She hasn't been like,
Yes.
I don't remember first she's been knocked out with one shot, but she has been put down. So it's all
Mhm.
about touching that chin, right?
Absolutely it is. Yeah, and it's about precision. It's about growth. It's about like continuing to like reach for more. And that's something that I pride myself in. Every time I walk into the octagon, I am showcasing more skills that I've been developing. I'm not the same fighter. I'm a new fighter every time I walk in there. I train my freaking ass off during camp. I train my freaking ass off in between camp because champs are made in the off season, right? So I'm not only training just when I have a fight coming up. Like I hardly take vacations. If you see me traveling, usually it's because I'm commentating, which means I'm studying, which means I'm like looking at people and what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. I'm talking about the things that they could be correcting. Like I'm constantly evolving myself as an athlete, as a martial artist, and I can't freaking wait to step back into this octagon and showcase that.
Do you prefer beating an opponent at their weakness or at their strength? When you first put in the film, you get the call, you're fighting so and so on this date, and I'm sure you start doing your research. what do you look for most? How you can beat them at their own game to kind of maybe break them that way, or the weakness, because that would be, I guess, maybe the smarter play. I don't know.
I look at how I can most violently disrupt their being, honestly.
All right. I like
Yeah,
that.
this is a game of violence, you know. This is a game of I mean, martial arts is cute, you know, like I love learning and growing, but at the end of the day, this is a freaking fight. And I treat it as such. Like, this is a fucking car accident waiting to happen. This is me going out there and causing pain, causing damage, and hurting somebody. So that's what I look at. How
Damn.
can I most violently disrupt who you
John, I
are?
love the intensity. We need more of this in mixed martial arts. We go from show to show, and a few people stand out. Sometimes it's an outfit, sometimes it's a quote or whatever. But I love the intensity, the love of and passion for your job.
Yeah, I freaking love fighting. I freaking love fighting. I love fighting. I love being an artist. I love going out there and expressing myself and just getting to be like, you know, a human and getting to be like animalistic and primal. And I feel like it's at my core, you know, like it's like who I am inside. And I just finally get to like go out there and just show off. And it's just freaking awesome. I can't wait. I love fighting. I can't express it enough. I really can't.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that. Like when you found out who your opponent was going to be, and I'm sure you went and you did your research. She's a good fighter, but she's very well versed in the ground game as well, right? If you look at all the fighters that you've kind of had to bounce around from like wrestlers, grapplers, strikers. You've had a little bit of everything. What were your initial thoughts when you saw your opponent?
Oh, I didn't even stutter. I was immediately like, yes, give me her. Yes, please sign me up. I know that, you know, she was also the LFA champion and I was the LFA champion prior. And we both came from the jiu-jitsu scene. Now, she has had more accolades from winning world titles than I have. And that's cool. But I've medaled in almost every world title that I've embarked on. So, and I took a little bit of a different path than she did, where she kind of just like stayed in the jujitsu community. I started focusing more on MMA, so I couldn't compete as much in jujitsu. And when I did, it was like a little bit harder to have the same level of success. And yeah, I'm just like, man, like you're in my field now. Like we would have crossed paths in the jujitsu community had I stayed under that umbrella, right? But I already know, like, I'm over here now. I've been over here. I've been thinking about MMA. I've been doing this. You're walking into my game. You're walking into my arena over here. So I couldn't be more excited for this matchup, honestly. And she already had an opponent. I was the one that was the fill in, but this is a date that I was personally looking forward to fighting on. I really wanted to fight on September 7th. And when they gave me her as an opponent, I was like, run it. Let's go. Yes, absolutely.
This is your world, and I think it's going to be like your eighth fight. And I think if you throw in like contenders ninth, at this point, do you feel that veteran status? Do you feel like you're at home when you're in that cage, or do you still kind of feel like the new kid on the block a little bit? Where are you at roughly in your mind?
It's weird because like yeah, like I am kind of getting more to like the vet status. Like when I think about it, I'm like, oh my goodness, like 8 fights deep in the UFC, this is insane, right? But I still feel fresh. I still feel like the new kid. Like I've only been in the UFC for 3 years now, actually, and it's like I still feel like I'm new here. Like I feel at home. You know, I'm at the Performance Institute every single day. And literally, I'm in there for like 6 to 8 hours a day, every single day that that place is open. It's insane. I'm home, but I still also feel fresh. I still feel new. I still feel like I'm like proving myself and like showcasing who I am as an athlete and who I am to the company, even.
Have you kind of found the correct recipe yet? Because and some fighters say they never find it. But you have moved, you've moved camps, you do the PI a lot, you're here in Vegas. Does it feel like home for you, or do you feel like maybe sometimes fighters just have to mix it up regardless, even if things are working?
Oh, I'm home. Yeah. I actually just bought a house here in Vegas and I'm really proud of that. Like this is like a huge accomplishment for me. Thank you to the UFC. And yeah, but I'm also not stagnant. Like I'm not married to anything, right? Like if things aren't working out for me emotionally, like I'll move tomorrow. But I love my people. I love where I am. And I think it's really, really important to find like the right recipe of people. I've never had like so many awesome people to train with. Like us girls, we've really made like a cool girl crew. Like I love my coaches. I love everything that's happening here in Vegas. So there's no reason for me to move. I'm very comfortable. And yeah, I am at home.
Why did you want to fight on the 7th so bad? I'm curious.
Because I don't know, it just felt right to me. I was like, I like got it in my head, and when I get something in my head, I'm like a fucking dog with a bone, you know, like I'm just on it. And I told myself I wanted to fight on September 7th. I was really, really digging for it emotionally. And when Mick picked up the phone and called Jason House, I was like, absolutely, yes, please. Give me anybody, I'll fight them. So this just worked out really well for me because that was like my mental timeline.
I ask only because the week after is Noce UFC, and I'm wondering if a Greek chick would have wanted to beat up a Mexican chick and ruin the fiesta.
Yeah, I felt like that card was actually really booked up already by the time that my mind was already set on fighting on September 7th. So, and I knew that UFC was really focusing on like a lot of stuff with the Noce, and yeah, I wanted to be able to make sure that I got a fight in prior.
Plus, I wonder if all those lights are going to somehow be the coolest thing in the world or some sort of distraction where fighters are just vomiting the minute they walk out of the octagon because they're overwhelmed. But of course, I'm always hoping for the best. I'm just trying to be funny.
No, honestly, like I've kind of been thinking about that too, because the way, okay, so like when people are performing, right, as an artist, and I haven't been to the Sphere yet or seen a show, but I can imagine, the artists are looking forward and the screen is behind them. But when you're fighting, it's, you know, like it's kind of like an immersive experience. And
Right.
it's a 360. So like there's going to be times when they're turned around staring into the screen and also trying to see an opponent that's in front of you while things are flashing behind you. Ah, man. And there's literally no preparation for that, right? Like how are you supposed to prepare for that? Like go into the Sphere and spar? Like they're not going to be able to set all of that up for that. I mean, I don't know. You never, you know, whatever Dana wants, Dana gets, right? He may be able to set that up for people, but there's no preparation for what the Sphere experience is going to be like. Um, yeah, and I'm also curious. I'm very excited to see like the spectacular event that's going to take place though in Noche.
I've seen hoopsters, uh, basketball players say that when they play in a stadium versus an arena, that the depth perception is thrown off. So, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it has happened to athletes before in certain settings. And at a high level, it could make the difference. Who knows? I'm cheering for the great event that Dana's promoting and that we're wowed so much and it's such a success that they do it every year. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but I always wondered if fighters were thinking the same thing I was thinking. And you kind of, I guess, confirmed
Oh
that some
yeah.
are. Yeah.
I'm thinking the same thing that you're thinking. I don't know how the fighters that are fighting on the cards are really feeling about all of this. So I'm curious to know like what they're thinking prior to actually going out there. I've got to ask some of them.
One time we did an interview with a fighter at the PI and he had the camera down and was pointing up. Goes can correct me if I got the details wrong, but those big fans at the PI?
Okay.
So they were
Yeah.
going as the fighter, I think, was on a treadmill, right, Goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, on a treadmill. And so he's talking. And by the end of the interview, Goes and the interviewer, our colleague Nolan, I think, they wanted to throw up because that
We
even
did.
that little thing threw them off. And it wasn't in person or anything. And the fighter was fine because he couldn't tell. He was just looking at the camera. But that thing at the top just created this motion so then Goes tells me, check this out. And I sat there and I was trying to be stubborn as if to say this isn't affecting me, but it did affect me. It's a trip,
Oh
man.
yeah.
The way your eyes and your brain work.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think like so I mean as a fighter, like we are so locked into what is directly in front of us. Like we're not paying attention to the crowd or to anything else. I mean, I'm personally like extremely hyper aware. Like I hear everything, I hear everybody. But you're normally like really, really super locked in and hyper focused on what is exactly in front of you. But yeah, to have like lights flashing behind you, Yeah, there's like I said, there's no preparation for that. I don't think there's even emotional preparation for that. I think probably it would probably be a good idea for them to make the screen directly behind the cage black. You know, and maybe like the rest of it being all shiny, but just throwing
Yeah.
ideas out there. Just throwing ideas out there. None of us really know, right?
Right. I noticed the pole, the brand new house, but how long did it take to say I need to have a
There we
pole in the
go.
house?
Yes.
Most people get a pool or a basketball court. You got the pole, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love my pole. Yes. I was I'm an amazing aerialist, obviously.
Right.
So I came from pole dancing background. That's why I'm so freaking strong. And
You ever
it's
run
still a
into
part
it
of me. It's always gonna
when
be
you're
a part of
tired
me.
or buzzed or anything, or any of your friends ever run into it?
I'm sorry.
When you're buzzed or tired, have you ever ran into it at night? You know, you're raiding the fridge for a snack, or I don't know. I think I'd run
You know,
into it.
like if I like come downstairs and I accidentally run into it, I just grab it and start spinning anyways. So it's fun. It works out.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, it's always fun talking to you, and I hope you have the rest of your camp is healthy and safe, along with the weight cut, and one hell of a
Thank you.
performance on the 7th against Jaqueline Amorim. Should be a great one. Thank you
Yes.
so much, and thanks for that energy and getting the fans psyched up for your fight.
You guys are amazing. I love talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Oh, look at my biceps.
Some guns. Some guns. There you go. All right. See you later, little monster. Take care.